don't have title to my property anymore, I'd like to know why I'm paying property tax and who I'm now paying it to. You cannot tax me without representation. Hi everyone, Dallas Brody here. This is a 911, an SOS, a Mayday announcement to my riding of Vancouver-Quashena and all the other ridings that are located within the Lower Mainland. The federal government has now granted Aboriginal title over all of the Lower Mainland to the Musqueam Indian Band. The Musqueam Indian Band has approximately 1,250 members. They have a chief named Wayne Sparrow, and I guess he is now the owner of Aboriginal title over your properties. This announcement has been buried in the mainstream media, but was discovered by Juno News and released on Friday. It's interesting that this was secretly leaked out by the federal government just when things were heating up in the Middle East, and late on a Friday it came out. This is an astounding story and something that should have all of you waking up and taking notice. Your title to your property is now subordinate to the Aboriginal title that has now been given to the Musqueam Indian Band over almost all of the Lower Mainland. This here is a map showing the area that is covered by this agreement that the federal government has made in secret. Look at this territory. There are 2 million property owners in this area. There were 3 agreements signed, all of which are being kept in secret by the federal government. Journalists have asked for copies, they're being denied access. So you can bet buried within those agreements are vast payouts to allow for the transition of the title to roll out for all of us to see in its incredible glory. I was never advised of this as the MLA sitting in Vancouver-Quashena, and I would like to know if any other MLAs were told about this. What about the MPs? In my area, we have Wade Grant, who is a member of the Musqueam Indian Reserve, Indian Band, and he's an MP for Vancouver Quadra. That sounds like a little bit of a conflict of interest to me, Wade. Don't you think you should be resigning in the wake of this? Were you aware of this? Did you tell your riding about this before it was sprung on everyone? What did you know about this, Wade? All of us would like to know. And you, Talib Noor Mohammed, what about you? You're in Vancouver Granville. What did you know? Both of you are the MPs that cover my riding, and I would like to know what you knew before you granted title away from all of the constituents in your ridings to an Indian band of 1,200 people. And let's think about this. If I don't have title to my property anymore, I'd like to know why I'm paying property tax and who I'm now paying it to. You cannot tax me without representation. As far as I know, I'm not entitled to vote out the council of the Musqueam Indian Band if I don't like what they're doing. This is taxation without representation, and I'd like to know precisely the details that they've reached around this issue. British Columbians who own their properties in the Lower Mainland have been paying taxes on their properties since they've owned them. This is an outrageous betrayal of their rights. It is terrifying to think that this has been done in secret by our federal government against its own people. I was awake all last night thinking about this and wondering how this possibly could have been allowed to happen. I call on Talib Noor Mohammed and Wade Grant to immediately make a statement that you are against this, that this has to be stopped in its tracks. And I call on the other MPs who are in the other ridings, Burnaby, West Van, North Van, parts of Coquitlam. This is all your problem too. You should be calling a stop to this. This is going to be extremely bad for all of your constituents, and you know that. So Wade Grant, you have a special duty here, not only a duty to stand up and say you oppose this because it's against the vast majority of the constituents in your riding, but you should also resign immediately, because if this proceeds forward, and actually you probably knew about the negotiations as well, you are in a grotesque conflict of interest. Shocking behavior. But why am I not surprised, Wade? And let's be clear here. This is not fear-mongering. This is reality. The title to your property is now defective, damaged and your property value is tanking right now. I cannot believe this is happening in our country. This is a land grab. This is collectivization. We are now this far away from complete communism. And I cannot believe I'm standing in a country that I once knew and watching this happen. A One BC government, when I am Premier and we form government, we are going to immediately stop all of this nonsense. A government has to act for all the people in this province, all the people in this country, not a special 1%. And let's be clear, this is never going to go to the average Indigenous person who's living in a crummy place on a reserve that's an absolute mess, while the chiefs and council roll around in their gorgeous cars and their private planes. We will stop all voluntary transfers of land, money, and power to these chiefs and councils. We will repeal DRIPA 100%. We will declare UNDRIP of no force and effect in this province. We will demand that the federal government amend Section 35 of the Constitution Act of 1982, and we will require that all of these bands in BC, 200 plus bands, be converted into townships and municipalities and behave like proper government, and every member of that band be given fee simple title to the land on which they are currently living. We cannot go forward with these race-based laws. It is ruining our country. We are losing our property values, we're losing our way of life, and this is not helping Aboriginal people. There is a bigger agenda at work here, I know it, because average Aboriginal people are never going to benefit from this. I guarantee you that. And I'll guarantee you this, the average British Columbia is never going to benefit from this either. This is terrible. We will demand that CERNAC, what is this ridiculous department that they've got federally? Oh, the Crown Indigenous Relations Canada group. I will repeal all of this and demand that all of this get rolled back. We cannot operate this way anymore. This is insanity.